We are so screwed up. There's a story out of Texas today where they are now talking about renaming the city of Austin. They have already renamed 7 streets that they deemed worthy of immediate action. And they now want to rename the city of Austin. Now, Stephen F. Austin is known here in Texas as the father of Texas. He is the namesake of Austin. He's the guy who carved out the early outlines of Texas. He is also the guy who opposed an attempt by Mexico to ban slavery in a province called Tejas. So he said if the slaves were free, they would turn into vagabonds, a nuisance, and a menace. So we've got to change the name of Austin now. This is what the city of Austin is doing. They are just rewriting history. They're just erasing. How do you do that? How do you do that? Who is oppressed by the name Austin? It's a progressive utopia. It is becoming the San Francisco of Texas. Thank you, California. And now they're claiming that in this progressive utopia, they're so oppressed. How? You took over the city. How are you oppressed? And so now they have to change our history. Over the weekend, I was recording the audiobook for the new book that's coming out September 18th. It's called Addicted to Outrage. And I read this story, and I had just read this section of the book. And I want to read it to you. As we search for truth, let's first remember who we are. America's history with slavery is an abomination. Frankly, the people back then were monstrous. I mean, how could they not be? It may not have, been in their home or even their neighborhood, but they knew slavery was going on. The food they ate, the clothes they wore, the fabric, cotton was picked and made by slaves. They may not have been able to hear the lash and the crack of the whip, but all they had to do was think about it. But they refused. We should now, in this century, judge and condemn them. And it's important to do so, to set ourselves apart and signal our virtue, because just as this generation has passed judgment on past generations, we too shall be judged and condemned by our children and our children's children. They will ask, how could they have possibly cared about some entertainer who tweeted stupid stuff, or spend days going back and forth online asking, do you see a blue dress or is it a gold dress? They knew that the food that they ate and the clothes that they wore were picked and made by slaves. Or is it somehow different now? Judge the founders, and we too shall be judged. Why are we not today leading the charge to free the slaves that are currently in chains? There are more in bondage today than the entire 400-year period of Western slave trade combined. What people now say about the founders is just as true about us today. We may not be able to hear the lash and the crack of the whip, but all we have to do is Google it. Hashtag slavery is out of control. Hashtags don't count as actually doing something.